Assalamualaikum Mu'mineen Mu'minat. Can I have a loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Thank you for joining us today on the 9th of the 12th. Today we're going to be starting off with Hadith Kisa by Jawad, and then also followed by a Marcia by Jawad as well. After that, we will have Brother Gomel reciting the English speech. And after Brother Kumel's speech, we will be having Urdu Majlis speech by Sayyid Abid Bilgrami Shab. And can I please get a recitation of Surah Fatiha for Marhum Sayyid Mirza Ali Beg, Mirza Asad Beg, Sahab. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad Allahus samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad Allahus samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. We will be having Brother Jawad recite Hadith Kisa shortly. Thank you for being patient with us, Mu'mineen Mu'minat. Thank you. We'll be right back.
For Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wajil farajum. Mu'min Mu'minat, my condolences on the death of Imam Hussein, death of Hazrat Abbas, the death of Hazrat Ali Akbar alayhi salam, the death of Hazrat Ali Asr alayhi salam. This is the 11th night of Muharram. This is the night after Ashura, when the entire army of Imam Hussein had been martyred, and the women of Karbala, the children of Karbala, were taken prisoner. So my condolences to you, my brothers and sisters, and my condolences to Bibi Fatima Zahra, the Lady of Light. Let's please recite a Surah Fatiha for Kullu Mu'minin Mu'minat. Allahumma salli ala إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له اللهم صل على اللهم صل على. Is the sound working? A couple of quick announcements. Let me know in Jawad. A couple of quick announcements. Today is our final program for the first Ashura of Muharram. Inshallah, we at al-Asr are going to try to have more programs. During the Muharram and Safar months. I want to do this personally, and I think al-Asr as a Jamaat wants to do this as well, because we want to make sure that we don't stop thinking about Imam and the Ahlul Bayt and the promises that we made to ourselves and to Imam Hussein and to Allah during these 10 days. We want to make sure that we continue to strive to fulfilling those. Our path to enlightenment shouldn't stop on, the 10th, 11th, 12th of Muharram. It should continue on. So we're going to try to have programs. We have a series coming up with Maulana Sadiq Hassan. We'll give more information about that. He's going to be doing, at least 3 majlises with us this Muharram. So just, if you haven't already done it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, if you're not on our mailing list and you're hearing this, info@al-Asr.com. Send us an email. We'll add you to the list. Or contact one of the volunteers. Very easy ways to be in the loop on what's going on. And now, please give a loud salawat for brother Jawad Zahid Bhai. He's going to recite Hadith Qissa. After a loud salawat, please recite a Surah Fatiha for the marhum of his family, for Kul Mu'min wa Mu'minat. Var Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa jawfar. Please recite Surah Fatiha for the Zahid family and for Kul Mu'min wa Mu'minat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل فقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب هودي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بذتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا هرب لمن هاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجه.
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرض مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرض مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وأجل فرجهم. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله؟ فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبين إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad وعجل فرجهم. Before I start the Marsiya, please start Surah Fatiha for all Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, especially the family of the Dosa family and also Tahir Mu'min. Bismillah. محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم. ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، واہ حسینہ کا ہوا شور حرم میں برپا، ہو کے رخصت جو چلے گھر سے شہ کر بو بلا، کہہ کے یہ دوڑی سکینہ کے ٹھہر جاؤ ذرا، ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، شہن بچی کا جو یہ حال پریشان دیکھا، رو کے فرمایا کہ کیا حال میری ماں ہے لتا، جوڑ کر نان سے ہاتھوں کو سکینہ نے کہا، ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، سوچتی ہوں کہ تماچے کوئی مارے نہ میرے، گوشوارے کوئی کانوں سے اتارے نہ میرے، وہم آتے ہیں میرے دل میں نہ جانے کیا کیا، ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، بابا سینے سے سکینہ کو لگاتے جاؤ، اب کہاں ہوگی ملاقات بتاتے جاؤ، تم کو اکبر کی قسم گنجا دہن کا صدقہ، ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، ارے ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، ایک بار اور مجھے گود میں لے لو بابا، صلوات محمد وآل محمد، اللہم صل علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Please again recite Surah Fatiha 3 times Surah Ikhlas for all Mu'min and Mu'minat, khususan Tahir Mu'min and the Dosa family.
اور محمد وعلی محمد صلوات، اللہم صلی اللہ محمد wa ali Muhammad wajjal farajahum. I just want to remind everyone, if everyone hasn't realized, how lucky we are to have such a talented community. People who beautifully recite Hadith Kissa, recite the Marsiya. All of this is the blessing from Allah that we get to set the mood and create the environment of unity and create the environment of somberness for the Azadari of Imam Hussein. We had a children's program that was scheduled for yesterday, but we had a julus that went very well, mashallah, and getting ready for Sham al-Ghariba. We weren't able to do it, so we're going to have our children's program, short children's program today. They had a couple. Are you ready? Muhammad, Muhammad, here, why don't you go first? Here. Once you unmute it, put these back here. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
Drop it.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Yes, for the baby. And Mama should say. For 3 days, you were thirsty. Mama, not him way to be healthy well.
Allahumma salli ala
We get a lot of salat for Sakina. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad.
Come on, Sakina. Please recite the Surah Fatiha.
Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
It's not her family. Zainab went through the most in Karbala. Bibi Zainab went through the most in Karbala. For example, she sacrificed her sons Ona Muhammad and she watched her brother Hazrat Abbas' arms get cut off and Imam Hussein neck get cut off and the bodies of her loved ones get trampled by horses. Not only did she see all of this happen, but she also saved Imamat and Islam. When Imam Zain al-Abidin was too sick to move and he was unconscious in the burning tent, his elderly aunt Zainab, the daughter of Hazrat Ali, carried him on her back, saving Imamat. It was her strength and patience and love for Allah that allowed her to tell everyone what actually happened in Karbala. It is because of Bibi Zainab that till the end of time, people all over the world will answer the calls of her brother and say Labbaik Ya Hussein, Labbaik Ya Hussein. This is a poem I wrote about Bibi Sugra. Bibi Sugra, in the face of Fatima, too sick to raise her brother Asghar, loved him like she was his mother, tried to convince her father that she was better, but Hussein knew better. Sugra's brother, Hazrat Akbar, made a promise not to get wed without her. Bibi Sugra, the face of Fatima, had a fever and stayed behind, but her father said he would keep looking back and waving to her as they walked through the desert. And Hazrat Abbas and Ali Akbar did not dare to look behind because they didn't want to see their precious Sugra, to see the tears in their eyes. Bibi Sugra, the face of Fatima, watched over Salma long after her dear father went to Karbala. She saw her dear brother Ali Asghar in her water. Allah Dash, she heard him cry. When her aunt Zainab returned to Medina with none of her uncles or even her father or her dear brothers who died with no water, Bibi Sugra was an orphan, which means she could not hug her uncle Abbas. How could he hug her when his arms were cut off? She never saw her brother Asghar walk or talk. She never saw her brother Ali Akbar wed, and they had killed her father Hussein and cut off his head. So how could she sit on her dad's lap? So she couldn't sit on her dad's lap ever again. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad waj'al farajahum. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad waj'al farajahum. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad waj'al farajahum. Now, before we start with our speeches, this has been a very inspirational Muharram. The children, as you can see, spent time writing poetry. Some of the other members of the community wrote some poetry. We've been reciting some for you throughout the 10 days, and so we want to go and recite some Islam poetry that we have been working on throughout these 10 days. It's called Karbala Soldier. Karbala Soldier, Alam holder, his arms fought for Hussein until they cut his shoulders. The mighty Abbas, the lion of the tribe, hungry for submission, not thirsty to survive. The thirst was for freedom, the freedom to please. Only for our Lord will we drop to our knees. You think Hussein will submit to tyranny? Please. We will walk right into heaven. You gave us the keys when you hid behind trees and attacked from behind. Karbala soldier, Alam holder, in the face of oppression, Abbas is bolder. Sakina was thirsty, so he wrote for her a promise for water, yet Allah had other plans. Yes, he is a boss, but he was only one man. To kill a lion, only a pack of dogs can. Surrounded, outnumbered, they shot his eye. He fell on the face. He could hear the cries. Alatash, Alatash, the time was near. His brother and master Hussein, he shed tears. O Karbala soldier, Alam holder, we call for strength over and over. We stand for Hussein, no matter what the cost. The son of Ali, our protector. Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas.
Karbala soldier, infant warrior, baby brother. Surga loved you like she was your mother. She wanted to see you walk, hear you talk, but she was left alone while the others walked. From Makkah to Medina to the land of Karbala. The Karbala soldier, infant warrior, Imam Hussein tried to get water for you. Too weak to cry, thirsty since day 7. A 3-pointed arrow sent you to heaven. The ground rejected a single drop of your blood. The sky would send no rain from above. So Imam Hussein, he put your blood on his face. He had no choice. This was the only place. O Karbala soldier, infant warrior, the tears in your eyes are cries for you. Karbala soldier, Ali Akbar, resembled the Prophet more than any other.
Your call for azan at the time of Fajr, the voice of Muhammad, the Prophet of God. Yazid was no king, a coward, a fraud. May Allah send curses on Ibn Ziyad. Karbala soldier, Ali Akbar, trained to fight by the Alam Hoda. Your throat was so dry from 3 days of thirst. Of all the bodies Hussein lifted, yours was the worst. His back was broken. Your wound was open. Ibrahim tried to offer his son, but Allah has spoken. The great grandson of the Prophet of Islam, the son of Hussein, the true Imam. Sacrifice was accepted of Layla, your mom. Karbala soldier, Ali Akbar, your brother Askar was the infant warrior. Karbala soldier, Allah holder, we will carry your flag until the world is over.
This last verse is dedicated to anybody who's been oppressed by the Taliban, who's been oppressed at all. Anybody who has felt the negative stereotype that the violence of groups like the Taliban, like the Umayyads, have given the peaceful religion of Islam. This last verse is for anybody who gave Islam a bad name, who killed anybody, oppressed anybody under the false banner of Islam. This next verse is for you. Now you tell me who won. Is Yazid ibn Muawiyah or Hazrat Ali's son? How are they going to beat them? Whole Umayyad clan claiming king, trying to beat them? How are they going to be the king when Hussein ruled the heavens, the earth, and everything? Hellfire ain't cool, but somebody got to burn in it. Mukhtar going to kill all you Harami fakers. You want to hurt Hussein? You better have a seizure, a heart attack or something. You better back up before you get smacked up by the hand of God. This is how we're going to do it on our side. Any of you Umayyads want to bring it, but we ain't playing. We bring it Lana. Lana to you and your mama. Mukhtar going to kill all you fakers. When the Prophet came out, he told you it was just about his family. But no, everybody had to open their mouth and bring their opinion at the Saqifa. Now this is how we're going to do it. Lanatan Muawiyah, Lanatan Yazid, Abu Sufyan, the Umayyad as a tribe, a clan, and as an idol-worshipping crew. And if you want to be down with Umayyads, Lanatan you too. Taliban, Lanatan you too. Marwan, Lanatan you too, you Umayyad fool. All you ugly sinners going to die slow, ugly sinners. My bow and arrow make sure all your kids don't grow. You fakers can't be us or see us. We the people of Muhammad, Labbaik Ya Hussein till we die. Down in hell, all you enemies of God gonna burn. Mukhtar gonna do his job. You think you the king? Imam Hussein, the only true undisputed king. You ain't nothing but liars and fakers, cowards and haters. The people of Hussein gonna last till the end of time. And you fakers gonna die and no one gonna be crying. Yazid be jealous because Hussein's grandfather is in the name of Azan. When he dropped prayers, it's in. He the realist. Lana on the Umayyads. Lana on the Taliban. The Karbala killers. Labbaik Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Please recite the Surah Fatiha.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إنا شانئك هو الأبتر اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وجل فرجهم. I want to make sure to start today with the praise of Allah. Ya Allah, we praise you for the benefit you've given us by teaching us about your beloved, about the Ahlul Bayt, about your Panjatan Panj. Ya Allah, I want to thank you for the generosity you've shown us by allowing these 10 days of Muharram to be the start of our new year. Ya Allah, the rahmat you've sent to us, the mercy you've sent on us by allowing us to cry for Imam Hussein. Ya Allah, we want to thank you for sending us not just one, but 12 infallible personalities, one of which is alive today, one of which without the Imamat alive today, the world wouldn't exist today. Without the light that you provided on this earth that will never be extinguished, you provide us guidance so we can leave this place of this temporary place of deception to a place of paradise. And only with the path that you've shown us, that you promised, there will always be the roadmap to heaven that you will always give to us. Ya Allah, thank you for the opportunities you've given us to wake up for Fajr namaz, to recite Zohar and Asr namaz in the middle of our day, and to pray Maghrib namaz before we go to sleep. Ya Allah, thank you for teaching us about namaz al-Shab when we wake up in the middle of the night and we ask for forgiveness of us and our community. Ya Allah, please continue to give us these blessings. Please provide us with more and more opportunities to do more and more and sacrifice more and more for you, and to show Bibi Fatima Tadara that we love you and your family. That is what we are doing in these 10 days. We're dedicating this time to you, to show, to prove to you, and to prove to Bibi Fatima Tadara that we're worthy of heaven. That we are worthy of heaven because not only do we understand that the entire existence was created from their light, but we love you. Not only are you our creator, but we love you, Allah, and we recognize and thank you for everything you've sent on us. And you've humbled us, Allah. You've humbled us by spoiling us. You've humbled us to the extent to where we turn to you, turn our faces to you. We want to turn to you and ask for forgiveness. We want these faces, these mortal physical faces to be remembered by you. So one day when it comes and there's a time when these faces are going to be burnt, maybe you'll remember that we turned these faces in allegiance to Imam Hussein, and maybe you will show us mercy on that day and on the day of the day of judgment, which is it's a reality. It's a reality, and it's coming soon, Allah. It's coming too soon, Allah. I'm not ready for the day of judgment. I'm not ready for the day when all of humanity is going to be risen up from the ground and stand next to each other with nothing but our sins showing on our bodies. Ya Allah, I'm scared of that day. I'm scared of the sins I've committed. I'm scared of the sins I'm going to commit. I'm scared of the sins that I don't even know about. So Ya Allah, forgive all of them. Forgive all of them and put me in opportunities where all I could do is praise you and please you and earn your blessings and earn your forgiveness. On this night, this 11th night of Muharram, Ya Allah, we ask you to send us your mercy, to send us your blessings, but not just any mercy and not just any blessings. Ya Allah, we want that mercy. We want those blessings that are only available when from on our behalf, you shower blessings on the Prophet Muhammad and the family of Prophet Muhammad. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wajil farajum. Ya Allah, please hasten the return of Imam Mahdi Sahib Zaman alayhi salam. You know, a couple of things happened in the last couple of days that I find very interesting. I want to share with everyone. One is I have a couple of non-Muslims that I urge to listen, and I always tell them they want to know more about me and what I'm about, and I tell them to listen to these speeches, and I try to break it down very simply so people know what salawat means. When you say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wajil farajim, they know that we're sending blessings, asking our Lord to send blessings on Prophet Muhammad and the family of Prophet Muhammad. And I tried to make it clear why. And they tuned in. I don't know how many of our Mu'minat tuned in. If this is the first speech you're listening to, go back and listen to them, please. And you know, a lot of time was put into explaining what happened before Karbala that led up to 50 years from the time that Prophet Muhammad had passed away. 50 years later, they're killing his family. What happened? How did that happen, right? Why do we care that happened, right? Why do we care? That happened. People die. People get martyred, right? Why do we spend so much time looking at this? And so I wanted to explain to people who were curious, whether Muslim and non-Muslim, because see, as Muslims, we have every year, you know, we have the knowledge of Allah's mercy. We have the knowledge of Allah. Maybe that spoils us and makes it easy for us to sin. Hopefully, it makes us have more love for our Lord and respect and submit to our Lord more and not want to sin because he's worthy of us not sinning. But we also have the knowledge of Imam Hussein. We have the story of Imam Hussein. We have the love for Imam Hussein in our heart. And we know that no matter what you do to us, we're going to be successful because of this love for Imam Hussein. I don't want to deprive the rest of the world of that. I don't want to deprive people of that. When they say, come on, what are you doing the next 2 weeks? I have a birthday party on Saturday. I have a baby shower on this day. And I said, I'm mourning. You're mourning. Didn't you do that last year? Yes, we mourn every year. I should mourn every day for this. And I want them to understand, why do we mourn? Why do we mourn? What do we do? And why they should do it too. Why you should do it too. Yes, I'm talking to you, my non-Muslim friends. I understand that you're lost. I understand that you have stress. I understand that you're scared about this world. Don't be scared of this world. Be scared of the hereafter. Be scared of the day of judgment. And through that fear, reach out to find something to alleviate. The only thing that's going to alleviate your fear of the day of judgment is the love for Imam Hussein. And if you think that, oh, I don't know about Muhammad, I don't know about Fatima, I can't relate to any of this, listen to the stories of sacrifice that we go through each and every day about different members of the family of Imam Hussein, different members of the house of Imam Hussein, of the tribe of Imam Hussein. And you'll hear these stories of a little a little boy named Qasim. You hear the stories of a baby named Ashura. You hear the stories of strength of Zainab. And if they don't soften your heart, then nothing will. But I know they will. I know these stories will soften your heart, because that is what Imam Hussein does. He opens your heart. He opens your heart towards the true path, and he opens your mind towards things you never thought were possible. And when you think that's possible, then you are truly free. You're free from the shackles of this world. You're free from your sins. You're free from everything that's keeping you at stress. That's what Imam Hussein stood for, was freedom. Yes, he stood for freedom against tyranny. He stood for freedom to say that we don't have to accept a leader that we don't approve of. This is our right given by God. Allah says you can accept me or not. That's your choice. So if we have a choice to accept Allah, how can we accept Yazid? If we can decide whether or not we accept Allah, how can we be forced to accept a tyrannical government? Yes, this is exactly what Imam Hussein was doing, but he was setting us free, not just of tyranny, but of ourselves and of the shackles of this world, and saying, you think you lost hope? Do your sins mount up so much that they pile up, and all you can think about is hell and the day of judgment? That's good. But understand that your salvation is the love for Imam Hussein, And this person asked me, they said, okay, Komel, so you spend 10 days, every day speeches, decorate your house, people coming over. What happens next week? You want to come to the party next week? What happens next week? The decorations come down from your house, and the praise of Hussein and the remembrance of Hussein leaves your house? And I thought about it. And you know what? Maybe that happens. But it's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen this year because we're not going to let it happen. Maulana Bilgrami saying every day do majlis of Imam Hussein in their house, right? I want to challenge everybody listening, challenge you. Do majlis of Imam Hussein for 5 minutes every day in your house and watch how your year goes next year. I'm going to do it, inshallah. I say that now. Maybe I won't do it tomorrow. Maybe I won't do it the day after. But Ya Allah, please give me the strength. Give me the strength to do what I want to do in my heart. I want to do this. There's basketball game on, I won't miss it, right? I don't want to miss the zikr of Imam Hussein. This is the most important thing, the most important thing, the thing that the more you do, the more you love it, right? And so next week, what happens next week is up to us. What happens next week is our choice, a choice given to us by Allah, and a choice that was solidified by the sacrifice of not just Imam Hussein, but that little boy Asr, his daughter Sakina, his sister Zainab, his brother Abbas, right? We hear about their sacrifice, and they sacrificed their life. So we had the freedom to improve our life each and every day until the day we die, right? That is the important thing to remember. So this is al-Asr's last program for this week. We're going to have new ones soon. You know what I mean? But don't wait for this to do zikr of Imam Hussein. Tomorrow I want you to do majlis. Day after I want you to do majlis. And I'll follow it up with this. If you don't have anyone to do majlis with you, Bibi Fatima will come. But if you want somebody to do majlis, I will do it with you. I will call me and let me know what time. I will do whatever part of majlis with you. Let's do it together and let us walk into heaven together. This is the only thing that could save us. The other thing that happened was one of my Muslim brothers asked me, he said, Kamal Bhai, why should we take the lessons of Karbala with us? Why? How's that going to help us? And that's a really good question. I can't sit there and say, well, how could you not, right? That a lot of times that's the answer. It's Imam Hussein, and I'm not mocking that answer. That is the right answer, right? But we need to understand what Imam Hussein did is he gave us strength. How did he give us strength? Not by showing us that, hey, I could kill 1,000 men when I haven't had water in God knows how many days, right? Yes, the water was cut off on the 7th, but Imam Hussein hadn't drank before that because he knew water was going down and he knew they didn't have access to the Euphrates. So who knows when Hazrat Abbas, Hazrat the leper had drank water. It's not just 3 days, right? Yes, that's supposed to give us strength. But when you want to sit there in traffic after having a bad day at work, right? Have to go home and, do your homework from school, or go home and take care of your kids, or go home and take care of your parents, or go home and clean your house, right? Or go home and there's nobody at home and you have to sit there alone. Whatever it is that's bothering you, and you're asking Allah, why'd you put me in this position? Ya Allah, don't you love me? Ya Allah, how don't I deserve this and don't I deserve that? Let me ask you something. Who did Allah love more than Imam Hussein? And what kind of opportunities did Allah present for Imam Hussein to show his love for Allah? You see, when it's easy, right? It's easy on Eid to love your family and to hug your family and to give gifts, right? But what about on those times when people are tired? What about on those times when people come home in a bad mood? How easy is it to show your mother how much you love her then? How easy is it to show your dad how much you respect him when he's angry at you? How easy is it to show your kids that they're they're the lights of your life when they had half a cake and they're running around on sugar. You see, this is when your faith is important, right? This is when it's important. This is what Imam Hussein showed us. No matter what happens, right? I cursed the Taliban and Launat on the Taliban and the Umayyads. Why did I do that? Why? Because they make Islam look like a religion of violence, right? They oppress people. But more than anything, they take the beautiful history of Islam. Prophet Muhammad welcomed people. He set people free. He educated them. People didn't follow Prophet Muhammad because he had a sword. They followed Prophet Muhammad because he had the truth. They followed Prophet Muhammad because he had the nur. They followed Prophet Muhammad because they loved being in his presence, right? And then the Islam gets taken over by a different faction, and now they're going into Spain and going into Africa and going into Persia and then taking all these nations and putting them part of the nation of Islam. And history writes that Islam was spread by the sword. And now here we are thousands of years later, and history is writing that Islam is being practiced with the bomb. We don't bomb anybody. We don't do any of that. We are non-violent. And why are we non-violent? Look at Karbala. My daughter asked me, why did Hazrat Abbas not take a sword? And I said, you know what would have happened if Hazrat Abbas Hazrat Ali Akbar and Imam Hussein took a sword? There would be no tragedy at Karbala, right? We would be celebrating this like the Battle of Badr, the Battle of Khandaq, right? The Muslims, overwhelming victory over Yazid's army, right? This is not a fictionality. These were the greatest warriors to ever step on the earth, right? And we talk about the valor of Hazrat Abbas, right? Imam Hussein killed over 1,000 soldiers on the day of Karbala. Imagine what Hazrat Abbas would have done. Imagine what Hazrat Ali Akbar would have done if, the time it presented, right? Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, he came to, hey, AJ. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You continue to say quietly. Listen to the speech, right? Listen to the speech because I'm telling some very important information. On the night of Ashura, Hazrat Ali alayhi salam went to Bibi Zainab, right? Bibi Zainab said, why, the Nohas say, the Riwayat say, the Masahib say, why are you coming now, Dad? Why are you coming now? Abbas is dead. Hussein is dead. You come now? Why did he come then? Why didn't he come earlier? The lion God, what he didn't want to do? It's because it was not his time to interfere. You see, this was the plan to pan out, right? Imam Hussein said, is there anyone to help me? Right? Imam Hussein was giving people till the final moments, making sure the soldiers that came, all of them weren't trained soldiers. No, people of Kufa, every single man was required to come and bring a sword. The nearby towns there, every single man that was within the distance of Karbala was required to come to Karbala with their sword. They thought a rebel was coming, and they thought they had to go and kill a rebel army, and they all came ready to go. So Imam Hussein spent 9 days and the entire day of Ashura reminding people who he is. I'm not a rebel. I am the son of Bibi Fatima. I am the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. I am the son of Ali, the first person to accept Islam. Over and over and over again, he told people this because they're just being told, hey, people of Kufa, every single man bring your sword and come. Oh, and by the way, if we come to town and see any man here, we'll cut your head off. This is how the Umayyads ran their government. This is how the Taliban runs their government. This is not how Islam runs their government. Yeah, as you could see, on the day of Ashura, Hazrat Abbas, the symbol isn't the sword. His symbol is the banner of Islam, the flag of Islam, the morals of Islam. So, fulfilling your promises, keeping your faith, no matter what. Reaching for the flag of Islam before it hits the ground after your arm got cut off. If Hazrat Abbas had flinched for 1 second, think about this. Hazrat Abbas is riding his horse. Both his arms are occupied, right? Right. Both of us have to be pretty hard, right? Riding as fast as he can, right? Both his arms are occupied, right? One arm gets severed by a coward hiding behind a tree. And what did Hazrat Abbas do? If he looked down for 1 second and said, oh, my arm, right? Blood squirting out of his arm, right? Imagine Imam Hussein and Bibi Zainab watching this happen, right? Instead of looking, oh my God, what happened, right? He puts the mushka, Bibi Sakina, in his mouth and grabs the alam in one stroke before it hit the ground. Imagine the man with this kind of reflexes, what he could have done against these scared, amateur army people with their swords. Like it's not even, thing that one should. Yes, they all would have been done, but there is no first strike. With Cobra Kai, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Right? It's the exact opposite of Islam. Islam is don't strike, protect your life. And as you could see in Karbala, there was never a first strike. If there was a first strike, right? Zubair ibn Kain, when it was just Hur's army and Imam Hussein, he said, let's take care of the army here. after this, we won't have a chance. And Imam Hussein said, no, they're not fighting us. We cannot offer the first strike. And they held off as long as they could until the arrows started to rain down on the tents, until Shimmer had cut the tent out and wanted to throw the fire in the tent to smoke it. Until then, the army of Imam Hussein had stood pat, right? Now, why did it take until Asr for all this to happen? Because of the brilliance of Hazrat Abbas, because of the brilliance of Hazrat Ali Akbar alayhi salam and Imam Hussein. If they weren't military masterminds, if they weren't military, had military brilliance and the best generals probably since Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, so a 5-minute war. Nobody would even have time to write about it. They were surrounded by at least 20,000 soldiers, probably 100,000, somewhere in the middle, right? The recaps from non-Muslim sources say that, right? People just kept coming and coming and coming, right? It's been a 5-minute war, done, right? But it wasn't because of the brilliance of their combat skills, right? You don't think they could have, there's more they could have done? There's not more they could have done because this was the eventual. They weren't there to fight. They weren't there to fight. Imam Hussein didn't leave to go kill all the enemy, right? He left because they started looting the camp already. They started taking the women's veils away, and Imam Hussein asked Shimmer. He said, hey, don't you at least have respect for warfare? Look at all the men of yours I'm killing. Give me the respect of a warrior and don't loot my camp until I'm dead. And Shimmer said, okay, right? This is the first time I ever heard him concede to anything. He said, hey, come away from the camp until this man is dead. After we kill him, let's go take everything, right? And that is why Imam Hussein fought. That is why Hazrat Ali, they weren't trying to fight to leave. They didn't want to leave. They asked permission to leave, right? We're Shia. We don't run. We don't run from anything, especially from threats of violence to make us waver on our convictions. Now, Imam Hussein, he was going to go far, far away. I'll go anywhere. Okay, Yazid, you want a ruler? I'll go to India, go to China. Maybe he would have come to the U.S. and instead of Abraham Lincoln being on the $5 bill, maybe it would be somebody else, right? But he didn't do that, right? And the thing is, even if he would have come to the U.S., that's still his territory. He was still king of the U.S. To this day, Imam Zamana is king of Canada, king of the United States, king of China, king of Indonesia, king of Australia, right? King of Jupiter, king of Saturn, king of Neptune, right? King of the heavens, king of the earth, king of hell. Everything created is under his dominion, right? And that is the only way that we could submit to a king. If you're not the king of everything, how could you be my king, right? If there's a separate king of ants, maybe the king of ants is stronger than our king, but we know that's not the truth. There's only one king, undisputed king, right? Right now, that reign is Imam Mehdi Sahibu Zaman alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Why Karbala? Why keep it in our mind? To remind us that no matter how bad your day is, what do you think you deserve that Allah has not given you? What do you think you deserve? What kind of day, what kind of blessings do you think you deserve, right? If you think you deserve something, what did Imam Hussein deserve, right? The obstacles in your day, they're not Allah punishing you. They're not Allah testing you. Why is he going to test you if he knows whether or not you know the answers? He knows how much studying you did. He knows, how much cramming you did. He knows how you're going to do on the test. To say Allah's testing us is to insult the knowledge of Allah. Allah's not testing us. He's given us an opportunity to earn Jannah, right? Somebody treats you badly and you treat them with kindness, that is recognized by Allah. The person you're talking to might not recognize it. Allah knows. Allah knows you better than you know yourself. And Allah's justice could only be true justice if all factors were taken into consideration: mood, timing, mental ability, physical, like all of this. Only he who knows everything could take that into account. And he takes it into account. And that's how we know that there is true justice, because Allah is the one who decides. Allah is the one who weighs your sins. Allah is the one who weighs your blessings, right? That is provided by Allah. You look at somebody and say, oh, I did namaz 5 times. I've never seen this guy pray. Why does he have $1 million home? Maybe you have $1 billion home in Jannah, right? Maybe this guy is on a lower level of Jannah. And you know what? At the end of it, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter to you what anybody has. If you think somebody has something, ask Allah for it, right? I want that too, Allah. Allah, you provided this man with this. It's such a beautiful home he has. I want that kind of house. Allah, send me the path that I could get there. And if I'm trying to get that home out of arrogance or greed, purify my intentions. Allah, I want to live in a house that's pure of evil, that's clean of evil intentions. That's clean. I want something that's pure, right? And watch what happens, right? Ya Allah, increase this guy's rosy. He has such a beautiful house. Give him 2. Allah, give me just 1. Give me just 1 so I could have my family come over and grow up here, and I could hold majlises in this in this beautiful home, and I could raise children in this beautiful home, and do great things in this beautiful home, and have that intention. And I'd be surprised if you didn't get the home, right? I'm of the camp that anything you ask for, Allah will give you. Anything you ask for, Allah will give you. Come out, how'd you get this? Come out, how'd you get that? Sometimes I'm embarrassed to tell people, you know what I did? I wanted it and I prayed for it. Literally, I want something, and I'm too. It's not even lazy. It seems too much work. Too much work for me to go and jump through these hoops, right? So I'm just gonna pray to Allah, and somehow it happens. Somehow it happens, and I'm never surprised because Allah created man from clay. Allah can't send me a new pair of slides. Come on, you see what I'm saying? Like this is our Lord, right? And He sends the blessings in this world and in the hereafter, and that's why we should always remember Karbala, right? The other reason is this, very simply, right? We have the cheat code, right? Everyone knows life hacks, right? Here's a life hack. You take a frying pan and put it on medium and throw a cold pizza on it, and 15 minutes later it's nice and crunchy, right? Life hacks, right? Here's how you boil an egg, right? Everyone's looking up these life hacks, right? Life hack. We just gave you a life hack. You're welcome. Hadith Kissa, right? Hadith Kissa was a life hack. Life hack and the hereafter hack, right? And if you don't believe me, ask Prophet Muhammad, who answered Hazrat Ali's question when Hazrat Ali said, not, hey, was there significance for this event? He said, oh, Prophet of God, tell me what the significance of this event is. And what did Hazrat Ali say? The significance of this event is anyone who remembers me. Anybody who remembers this event, when Allah told all the angels, look down there. These are the people who I created everything for and I love. Bibi Fatima, her father, her husband, and her sons, right? And anytime anybody remembers that, right? Allah surrounds the house with blessings. Anytime anybody remembers that and asks dua, there's no dua that's not fulfilled, right? Right? Ask for dua when Hadith Kissa it's not fulfilled. Ask Allah. See, Allah doesn't. He doesn't have to fulfill our dua, but when you ask for dua with Hadith Kissa, He has to fulfill it. Why? Because Bibi Fatima said that I heard this. I heard my father say this was the reason, right? So Prophet Muhammad said, "You're going to answer my dua." I asked for Hadith Kissa. Why didn't it happen? Oh, maybe my intention was bad and it's not good for me. So Allah, purify my intention and now grant me this dua that I asked in Hadith Kissa. You see, and what did Hazrat Ali say? He said, anybody who recites this, who remembers this, is a winner in this world and in the hereafter. Life hack, winner in this world and in the hereafter. So, Ya Ali. So you remember that, the blessed family of Prophet Muhammad. Who is the blessed family? Don't get it confused, right? Thoma, as we discussed the other day, she was in the house that night, but Prophet Muhammad wouldn't let her in the cloak, right? Bibi Zainab lived in the house of Prophet Bibi Fatima, right? She wasn't in the cloak. Why? So it's no confusion, no insult to either of them. In fact, he told Thoma, your future is secure, but you can't come under this cloak. I'm sorry, right? Hazrat Jibril asked for permission both from Allah and then came down and asked for permission from Prophet Muhammad, and then he was given the opportunity to be the sixth, right? But before he came in, while the five were in there, Allah said, these are the five I created the world for. Do you see what I'm saying? It's very calculated, the events of that night, right? So if we're going to acknowledge that the world was created for you, if Hazrat Ali didn't say he had a God, and if Prophet Muhammad didn't say he had a God, and if Bibi Fatima didn't say he had a God, people would think that they are God. People would think that they are God, because if we have, a God, right? Our God is their God. If they pray to somebody, I want to pray to who they pray to, right? And if they didn't pray to somebody, we might pray to them, right? I'm not trying to say that we're idol. It's nothing. We're monotheistic. There's one God. Allah is the only God. I'm just trying to show the stature of these people, whose light was expanded to create everything. We might think they are God if they never said, hey, no. I have a God. I have a God. I have the same God that you have. And Allah is fair to all of us, right? This is what they taught us, right? And so if we're going to acknowledge that, acknowledging that, this person is my father is one thing. Yeah, it's my dad, one thing, right? But you're my dad and I love you. And what can I do for you, Father? Imagine how much more your father loves that, right? Oh, yes, you are my mother, right? That was my mom's home. Or look at how they greeted in Hadith Kissa, oh, my mother, my dearest mother, right? Oh, my son, the apple of my eye. When you show somebody love, right? That dedication to them means even more. And that's what the opportunity we have when we acknowledge the martyrdom in Karbala, the sacrifice in Karbala is, we say, not only do we acknowledge you, Bibi Fatima, but we love you. We love your son. And how much do we love your son? We're going to keep increasing our love for your son. And that way, one day, I plan on doing it, asking Bibi Fatima, my Bibi, where are my tears? You held on to them, right? I left them somewhere because I wanted to put other things I don't need in my pocket. But you, Bibi Fatima, promised to hold on to them till the day of judgment. And today I'm scared and I need them right now. And I plan to ask her for those, right? You should too. You should too. And if we're going to ask her for those, how much easier is it going to be if we dedicate our life to remembering her son who she begged us to remember. She said to remember her son. And this is why we take Karbala with us. Why? Because we should. Why? Because we're lucky. And I just gave you 3 very good reasons why it makes perfect sense to acknowledge Karbala and to continue to learn from this tragedy. You know, I said, Imam Hussein came and said, Hal min Nasirin Yansuruna, right? And he's the Lord of everything, right? Allah sent the birds to defeat the elephants when they came to defeat Kaaba. What, he couldn't have sent birds? They didn't have birds in Karbala. The ants, you know, they could pick up 1,000 times their weight. He couldn't have sent like really big ants. I said yesterday, Imam Hussein could have made his hands so big they smacked everyone down and said, done, right? But no, he asked everyone for help. Asked everyone for help, right? You don't think anyone came? You don't think anyone came, right? It said that the bodies of the mutilated bodies of the shaheeds tried to move towards him, right? They couldn't do anything. The angels came down. The angel of death himself came down. Who's who? The greatest, strongest angels came down and stood in front of there, right? The jinn came, right? Jafar jinn, he came. And Jafar jinn, Zafar, you know, been changed to Jafar throughout the years, right? I think the original pronunciation was Zafar, right? You know who he was, right? We talked about Hazrat Hur coming on the day of Karbala, and after having been an enemy of Imam Hussein and submitting to Imam Hussein's, his dominion, saying, "Yeah, you are my king too." And look at the respect he gets, right? My daughter asked me, "Why do we only talk about 10 people in Karbala?" He's right, 72 people, 72 martyrs, but there of the 10 we talk about, Hazrat Hur is one of them. Think about the stature of Hazrat Hur alayhi salam, a man who stopped Imam Hussein from getting water, a man who wouldn't let him go home, a man who diverted him to his death. And think about the mercy, right? Now Zafar Jinn, the king, he was the king of jinns, right? You want to know what his origin story is, right? You want to see the rahmat of Allah, you see the rahmat of Hazrat Ali, you want to see how it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, what opportunities you had or didn't have, in your life, how you could redeem yourself and generations of people, right? So there are many different kinds of jinn, right? There are different species of jinn, right? I'm not an expert, but I did a little bit of research to be able to tell you guys a little bit of things people were curious about. So, there's some jinn that live in the mountains, some live in the forest, some live in the water. They're all different species. They're all called different types of jinn. That's why it's recommended not to be outside at night under the trees or at the beach by the ocean, right? Because jinn, they hang out here. Jinn are also species that have been in existence for at least 100,000 years before the creation of mankind. How do I know this? Because Shaitan was a jinn. Shaitan was a jinn, and Shaitan reached a status of heaven that a lot of angels in heaven didn't have, right? In fact, Hazrat Jibril used to go and ask him questions, right? Ask him questions I didn't know an answer. And how do you achieve this? He did namaz standing up on one leg for 100,000 years, and Allah gave him the status. And why did Shaitan have the ability to come and whisper in our ears and make us do, Shaitan made me do it, right? Push us over the top to do things that, we might have done anyways, or corrupt our life, right? Why did Allah give? Because we asked Allah, right? He said, Allah, I gave you so much worship. What are you gonna give me? And Allah said, name your price. Allah says, name your price. Imagine if you say, I cried for Imam Hussein, Allah, what are you gonna give me? And Allah says, name your price. You see? And so, this is the Lord that doesn't forget. And he told this jinn, he said, name your price. And Iblis decided, hey, I want to corrupt mankind. And he had, 3 requests. I want to be able, he challenged him. I'm going to corrupt your mankind till the day of judgment, right? Zafar jinn his progeny is descendants of Iblis himself. I said there are different species of jinn, right? The species of jinn that are were led at this time by Zafar jinn was the species that was the spawn of Iblis himself, right? One day, Prophet Muhammad and his companions, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa Farjim, they were walking, from town back to Medina, and they came upon a well and they were thirsty. So Prophet Muhammad said, sent 2 of his companions, go get water for everybody, right? And they went to go get water, killed. Nobody saw any attack or nothing. What's going on? Okay. 2 more people went, killed immediately, right? Another person came a little closer and he said, why can't we get water? And Abid came out and told him, he said, this well is controlled by us jinn. You can't touch the water. This is our water, right? Went they back reported back to Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad said, water is the possession of Allah. I am the king of the entire world. This is all of our water. They can't stop us from it, right? Go get water. And nobody was going, right? Nobody was going. So Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, he turned to Hazrat Ali. Hazrat Ali said, or he told Hazrat Ali, he said, go. Hazrat Ali asked him a very simple question. He said, you want me to get water? He didn't say how, he didn't say why. What do you want me to do but the jinn? He said, you want me to get water? Prophet Muhammad said, yes. He said, I'll be right back. Hazrat Ali went. Some of his companions followed behind him. He looked in the well and he called out. He said, I'm trying to get water. And they said, if you come in, we're going to kill you just like anyone else. And Hazrat Ali said, no. He said, no, you do not know who I am. I need to get this water. And they said, you don't know who we are. The voice came from the well. You don't know who we are. And Hazrat Ali said, okay, sounds like we need to make introductions of who I am, and you could tell me who you are. Hazrat Ali, who knows the heavens better than the earth, right? You don't think he knew who they were? He said, okay, let's get acquainted. I'm going to come down there. And people looking at Hazrat Ali, wait, how are you going to go? Hazrat Ali said, okay, I know you're scared. Why don't you do this? Tie my legs and drop me in the well. Tie my legs and drop me in the well, and I'll continue to recite Allahu Akbar, and you'll know that I'm okay. So they did this. They tied his feet, and they dropped Hazrat Ali into the well. And the rope kept going, and the rope snapped, right? They could hear, the cries, the calls of Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, getting more and more distant. On the day of Miraj, there was a sound that Prophet Muhammad heard, right? He heard a sound, and he asked Allah what the sound was, and Allah said that was a rock that that was dropped 70 years ago into the pit of hell, and it just hit the bottom right now on the day of Miraj. Think about this pit, right? And so it kept going in. It's obviously not a pit of hell; it's a pit of jinn, right? So they got down, and it is said that the ashab of Hazrat Ali alayhi salam stopped hearing Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and they're wondering what's going on in the well. Hazrat Ali alayhi salam was at war with the jinn alone. You wanted to know what Hazrat Abbas would have done in Karbala? 40,000 jinn were killed by Hazrat Ali alayhi salam coming to attack him. 40,000 jinn. He stood alone and he defeated these jinns. And then he stood there and the jinn called and we're telling him, pardon us, don't kill us, don't show mercy. And Hazrat Ali said, he's like, all of you are going to die unless if you give allegiance to the true prophet of Islam, the true prophet of the world, the true prophet of Allah. And the jinn stopped. And they said, you need to talk to our leader. And that leader was Zafar Jinn. And they went to ask him. He asked him, he said, I am Amir al-Mu'mineen. I am the representative of the Prophet of God. You guys need to submit. You guys need to give us your allegiance. And you know what they said? You know what Hazrat Sulaiman was? Hazrat Sulaiman was a man who didn't walk. He didn't walk because the air would carry him. He would stand there and he would just glide. People have their fake hoverboards now. He had the original model of the hoverboard, right? I hopefully got a patent on it. It would have expired by now. It's been more than 12 years, right? But he would glide on air, right? He would glide on air. The jinn were his servants. The ants, he would talk to the ants, right? There was an ant that he saw go into the mouth of a frog in the morning, right? And then the frog would go underwater and then would come up, he'd open his mouth and the ant would jump out and do this every day. So one day Hazrat Sulaiman, who could talk to ants, right? He asked the ant, he said, what are you doing, Mr. Ant? And the ant said, every morning I go visit this frog. I go on his tongue. We go underwater and we feed. We give risk to a creature down below. That was what Allah chose us to do, is give risk to this every day. So we do this every day, and I come up and I pop out his tongue and I do it the next day. He's asking ants this. The entire, dominion was utilized by him, right? It's under the control of Imam Hussein, under control of Hazrat Ali, but Hazrat Sulaiman, he used all of the, some people have 50 pairs of shoes and they wear two, right? He wore all his shoes, right? He did everything he could, right? And his palace was immaculate. He had water flowing under his floor and the thinnest, most clear glass on top. So when people would walk, they would think they're going to drown, and then this is glass, right? That is the beauty of his kingdom, right? Jinn under his control, right? In fact, when there was nothing that he didn't have power of, right? His legendary dominion, legendary kingdom, right? But when he asked for, there was a town called they were ruled by a queen called Shiva, right? And she was coming to visit Hazrat Suleiman's kingdom. She thought her kingdom was better. This is the kingdom to be at. So she's coming to see Hazrat Suleiman. And there were tales about how great her throne was, right? And so he said, okay, let's, bring me her throne. And a jinn stood up and said, hey, I'll bring you your throne in 30 seconds, right? See, this is what the kind of control he had over the jinn. The reason why I'm telling you the story of Hazrat Suleiman, why I'm telling you the story of Zafar, is Zafar jinn said, do you know who we are? We're not regular jinn. Hazrat Ali, they told Hazrat Ali, we're not the jinns of the mountains and the trees and the seas. No, we don't submit to anybody. We didn't even submit to Suleiman. And what did Hazrat Ali said? He said, I'm not Suleiman, I'm Ali. You see, he said, that was Suleiman, I'm Ali. I am beyond Suleiman. You didn't submit to him, that's fine. I am Ali, you will submit to me, right? And they became friends. And this spawn of Iblis, this spawn of Shaitan, the people that were birthed, the children of Shaitan, became the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt. And they are the same jinn that rose up in the land of Karbala and told Imam Hussein when he said, Hal min nasirin yansuruna, Zafar jinn came, right? The person who his father had converted to Islam after being the spawn of Shaitan converted him. And they rose up and said, Imam, we are here to help you. And the Imam sent them away because he didn't want their help. He wanted the help of anybody, any mankind who could hear him, whether it be the people in Karbala whose knives and swords were dripping with the blood of his family, or the Indian army that was coming from India because he had written to his brother-in-law, right? Sher Banu had a sister, Mer Banu, who was married to the king of India, and he had written to him and said, we might need to come to India. We're going to be in trouble. And he sent his best warriors to come. They arrived there later, right? And the cause was for us. To this day, Labek Ya Hussein, Labek, we've been saying it so much, so we can say we're here, Ya Hussein, to save us this world, hereafter, to show the angels that asked Allah, why are you these people who are greedy and arrogant and selfish, that are going to destroy each other, destroy themselves? Why are they going to be the representatives on earth, right? So we can show them why. So we can, no matter what happens, no matter what kind of atrocities you bring on us, we'll never turn our face from you, Allah, because we know that is an opportunity for us to love you. Look at what happened to Imam Hussein. So what if I have a flat tire? Ya Allah, you were so great. You gave me this flat tire. There must be a reason for it. I'm going to recite salawat while I change this flat tire. And maybe that'll get me into heaven. And that is the mentality of a free man. There are jinn, on this earth. They've been on this earth longer than we have, right? Why can't we see jinn, right? Because our eyes have limited access, right? We can't see light unless if it's contained in glass, right? We can't see the light move, right? There are tones of voices that dogs could hear that we can't hear, right? There are wavelengths that our bodies they reject. They're just not accustomed to, right? Jinn are made of fire. Maybe they move at a faster wavelength, right? But they live amongst us, right? People are always scared when you say jinn. Oh, what are you talking about, right? And first of all, it's a reality. The Quran talks about jinn, tells us that they're there, tells us to be wary of their whispering as well as the whisperings of humans, right? And so people, when you talk about it, they get freaked out, right? First of all, very, very clear is when Allah created mankind, said, mankind, this is my most powerful creation, right? There are people who use jinn, to do bad things, right? I'm not, your black magic jadoo, right? You know what the jinn say in Surah Jinn? They say people ask us to help them, right? They ask us to help them, but we'll destroy them too. I don't know the actual quote, but basically the jinn, they say, these mankind who's so powerful is going to come and ask us for help. Yeah, we'll help you, but we're going to destroy you too, right? So if you want to, some people want a jinn to destroy somebody's marriage or somebody this and that. Yeah, they might help that, but they'll destroy that person too. Because the jinn, they know us, and they too wonder, they look at us with envy because of the status that Allah has given mankind, right? Let's live up to that status, right? Let's live up to that status. One way to protect yourself from jinn is taharat, right? Why do we have a different tradition on how to wash ourselves after the bathroom? Because we're protecting ourselves from evil energy, from bad energy, right? The ghusl janaba, wuzu, these things, making sure that your children know how to wash themselves properly, making sure that if you're out at school, right, you use the bathroom at school, don't wait till you're home to get back, right? Between the time that you're at school and the time you're at home, you don't know what kind of danger you're in, right? This is one thing you could do. I told Kursi, I was doc, I want to make a horror film, right? I want the Conjuring and Paranormal Activity and this and that, right? I'm directing a horror movie, right? Here's how it's going to go. Okay, spoiler alert is My daughters are in the room and I hear scream. And I go into the room. I'm, oh, what are you screaming about? And I look at, and I look up and I see this weird demon. Ah! And so what do? I recite Ayatul Kursi. And the demon goes away. The movie's over. You see, that's the end of the movie. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa farajum. And I have no doubt that's what happened. If you're ever in, you're at, Hazrat Ali came to Bibi Zainab on the day of Ashura. So you think when you call Hazrat Ali to help, he doesn't come to help you? Think he doesn't come help you? These protection, the four clothes, read that before you leave the house, all four of them, right? Read Ayatul Kursi to protect. Whenever you're scared, recite Ayatul Kursi, call Ya Boss, call Hazrat Ali, right? This is how you protect yourself, right? The other thing you do is wear a sacred stone on your hand, right? Wear a sacred stone on your hand. That protects. And sometimes the stone will crack, right? And that means that it cracked protecting you, right? Cracked protecting you, right? These are things that we have been taught to do to protect ourselves. You shouldn't be scared of anything except Allah, right? Not anything except Allah, especially any creation, any animal. Allah said that humans are the masters of the world, right? They're the highest creation. The jinn are scared of us. No need to be scared of them. But if you want to be scared of them, recite Ayatul Kursi. You don't know Ayatul Kursi, read it every day for 40 days. You'll memorize it. That's very, very simple to do. You want to know Ayatul, I can sit here and tell you all night the times Ayatul Kursi. It's helped me, but I'm not going to do that. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story about a man named Abdullah, right? I wonder on the day of Karbala, right? The day of Karbala, people of Kufa had called, so the day of Ashura, people of Kufa had called the Imam. They called the Imam, come and help us, come and help us. So where were the people of Kufa on Ashura, right? A man named Abdullah, he was a resident of Kufa. He returned home he wasn't in Karbala, he was traveling before Ibn Ziyad had gone to Kufa, before Muslim bin Aqil had gone to Kufa. He was traveling before then. And he returned to Kufa on the day of Ashura. Returned to Kufa on the day of Ashura. And the markets were closed. The streets were empty. He saw nothing going on. What's going on? Where did everybody from Kufa go? So he went home and he saw his daughter. And his daughter came to him and she said, Baba, you're home. Go, go, go. Hurry up. Everyone's gone. Every man is gone. They've been required to go. There's rebel forces. We need to kill them. Baba, you go. Take your sword. You come back and be the hero, right? Her dad was very, very, valiant warrior. She knew this and she wanted the pride in the family. So she sent her dad. She starts riding away. So wait, Dad, wait. He goes back and said, what? Said, okay, listen, when the war is over and if there's any spoils of war, it's like, I want a Yemeni akik, please. I really want a yellow Yemeni akik. I'm going to make a necklace out of it. Please, Dad, bring that back for me. And he says to her, he said, okay, my daughter, I got this. And the man Abdullah rode to Karbala, right? Kufa was the closest town to Karbala. So he rode to Karbala, I think it was 40 miles, right? And so he rode on his horse, however fast he rode his horse, maybe it took, an hour, you think? An hour, 2 hours, right? So he got there, right? And he gets to Kufa, to Karbala. And what time did he get there? It was around Asr time when he got there. And what did he see? He saw an army of thousands surrounding one man on top of a horse. Thousands of people surrounding one man. And every time the horse would charge towards this side, the people would retreat. And anytime the horse would charge, the people would retreat. And he asked him, he said, this man's bloody on top of a horse. Why can't you kill him? That's one man. The man looks at him on front. He said, no, you don't understand. He has a brother named Abbas. And, he starts telling him. And the man, Abdullah, looked at this man and he said, I'll figure it out myself. And he went in the middle that everyone was scared too. Imam Hussein would take one step and people would retreat. Sometimes 1,000 soldiers would leave the battlefield and a new tribe would come in. Right? With the audacity to think that they could kill the Imam, but no one could, right? And this man, his horse stood behind Imam Hussein's horse and he drew a sword. And Imam Hussein, he looks at this man and he said, Abdullah, come near me. And Abdullah started to shake. What? Do I know you? How do you know my name? He said, Abdullah, come close to me. And Abdullah rode his horse gingerly near him. And he looks at the man. He takes the ring off of his finger and he hands it to her. He hands it to him. And he says, here is a yellow Yemeni akik. Give it to your daughter. Tell her that this is not from a rebel. This is from the son of Fatima, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. That is who I am. I'm not a rebel. And the man, Abdullah, he took the ring and he asked Imam Hussein, he said, what can I do for you, O Imam? What can I do for you, O Imam, on this day for this ring that you've given me? And the Imam tells him, he says, go back to Kufa. Go back to Kufa. And when you get there, find some cloth, find some coverings, find some chadar, my sister Zainab, and and the women of my caravan. They're going to be taken there. They're going to be taken there as prisoners. When you see them with their heads uncovered, when you see the granddaughter of Prophet Muhammad with her head open, that's when you could give them the chadar on my behalf. That's when you could give them the chadar on my behalf. And Abdullah, smart man, he had left, but the rest of the enemy stayed there. The rest of the enemy stayed there. And the way that they killed Imam Hussein took hours. Bibi Zainab watched. Nobody wanted to take the life of this man except Shimmer. Shimmer sat on his chest and announced who he was. You see, this is very important. So nobody could ever say, Shimmer had no idea who this was. You know, as you read some recounts of what happened in Ashura, and they say that it was an accident. They say that a small army had gone to rebel against Yazid. They didn't know how big the army was, so they sent thousands of people. I hope we killed them. That's not what happened. Imam Hussein reminded people, he said, I am the grandson of the Prophet of Islam. I am the son of the first man to accept Islam. I am the son of Bibi Fatima, who was the only child of the Prophet of Islam. It is my grandfather's name that you hear in Azan. It is my son, Ali Akbar, who looked like the Prophet, who you guys killed. It is my brother who was a boss, who had the arms that you cut off. That is who Imam Hussein was. My daughter asked me, she said, why did they not kill the women of Karbala? And I told her, I said, when Imam Hussein was Shaheed, they tried to kill the women of Karbala, but they still had to defend her. Yes, the lion of Qamar Bani Hashim was dead, but the lioness of God, the daughter of Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, was still alive. And she came to the front of the camp and she told the people, she told Shimmer was trying to incite people to kill them, to kill Imam Zainul Abidin. She said, how dare you take a step closer? You killed my brother. You killed my nephew. You killed my son. You killed Hussein, but you will never kill Islam. We will never kill Islam. You want to take our heads, but you will never kill Islam. And I told you that the people who came to fight Imam Hussein, they weren't all trained soldiers. No, there were people who lived in the towns nearby and they were required to come and take arms against Imam Hussein. So these people watch, and because of the charisma, the strength of Bibi Zainab, the banners of Bibi Zainab, who had been under such atrocities, the resolve she held herself with, there was no way that they would allow this to happen. They knew that if they took one step against Bibi Zainab that day, if they raised a knife against Bibi Zainab, this entire army would have revolted against them. So instead, what did they do? Earlier, you saw us putting the tripod up and down because the kids were reciting, right? What did they do? They tied everybody up by their necks. The shorter people had to stand on their tippy toes, and the taller people had to squat down so they wouldn't hurt each other. And this was the conditions that they were taking from Karbala to Kufa to Shab to the courtyard of Yazid. And even then, Bibi Zainab said, the strong Bibi Zainab, the lioness of God, told Yazid, everything I saw in Karbala was beauty. Everything Allah does is perfection. For Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wajil farajum. Next, we have our main speaker, Maulana, very knowledgeable, Maulana Sayyid Abid Bilgrami Sahab from Hyderabad, India. He's going to be speaking to our Jamaat, to our community. So after a loud salawat, please recite a Surah Fatiha for the marhum of Maulana Sayyid Abid Bilgrami's family and for Kul Mu'minin Mu'minat. Allahumma salli ala.
औज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन अस्सलातु वस्सलामु अलल रसूलिस सखलैन महबूबे रब्बल मशरिक़ैनल मग़रिबैन जद्दल हसन वल हुसैन अबुल क़ासिम मोहम्मद वला अहले बैतिही तय्यबीन अत्ताहिरीन अल मासूमीन अल मज़लूमीन बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम क़ाल रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि व आलिहि वसल्लम हुसैन मिन्नी व अना मिनल हुसैन। सल्लत पढ़े मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद। अज़ादारान इमाम अल-असर इमाम बारगाह लॉस एंजलिस के लिए ये ज़ियारत की मजलिस है, सय्यूम की मजलिस है उस गरीब इमाम हुसैन के लिए کہ جس کا یہ جملہ ہے کہ میں وہ غریب ہوں جسے رلا رلا کے مارا گیا. آج 11 محرم دن گزر گیا، جمعے کا دن ہے. رات کی مجلس ہے شب 12 محرم کی. شب 12 محرم کی یہ مجلس سیوم کی، زیارت کی، تیجے کی، جو بھی آپ بولیں، ان مظلوموں کے لیے ہے، ان غریبوں کے لیے ہے کہ جن کے لاشیں اب تک کربلا کے میدان میں رکھے ہوئے. 11 محرم جب یہ لٹا ہوا قافلہ گیا وہاں سے تو اس وقت لاشیں ویسی پڑے ہوئے تھے. آج 11 محرم کا دن گزرا خالی، کل دفن ہوئے، 12 محرم کے دن دفن ہوئے. جلتی ہوئی ریت پہ میرے مولا حسین کے اور ان کے ساتھیوں کے لاشیں پڑے ہوئے. آج کا دن بہت مصیبت کا دن ہے. مولا al-Asr امام بارگاہ کے سارے سننے والے جنہوں نے اسپانسر کیا ان مجالس کو، اللہ ان سب کو اور پوری دنیا میں جہاں میرے مولا حسین کی مجلسیں ہوئی، جن لوگوں نے مجلسوں کو اسپانسر کیا، نیاز کو اسپانسر کیا، اللہ ان سب کو سلامت رکھے. آج جمعے کا دن میرے امام کی سلامتی کے صدقے میں، وارث کربلا کی سلامتی کے صدقے میں سب کو سلام. سارے بیماروں کو صحت دے. ہمارے کمیل بھائی کی والدہ شمع بہن کو بھی، اور جتنے بیمار ہیں اللہ ان سب کو صحت دے. مولا آپ سب کو سلامت رکھے، خوش رکھے. یہ دعا میں نہیں دے رہا، یہ دعا حسین کی ماں آپ کو دے رہی ہے. آج 11 محرم بہت تھکے ہوئے ہیں نا آپ لوگ، لیکن آج سیوم کی مجلس ویری امپورٹنٹ. 1 یا 2 پیغام دوں گا کہ واٹ وی ہیو ٹو ڈو. پورے 10 دن آپ نے مجلسیں سنی، کچھ گین کیا، کچھ حاصل کیا. میں نے آج کی مجلس کا آغاز ایک بڑی مشہور حدیث سے کی. اللہ کے رسول کی بہت مشہور حدیث ہے، اتنی فیمس حدیث شیعہ سنی ساری کتابوں میں. مولا حسین کو گود میں بٹھا کے مدینہ منورہ اللہ ہم کو زیارت نصیب کرے. حسین نے مسلمانوں سے کہا کہ حسین منی و انا من الحسین، حسین مجھ سے ہیں اور میں حسین سے ہوں. ویری کلیئر. ایک انٹروڈکشن کرایا، مولا حسین کا ایک انٹروڈکشن تھا کہ مسلمانوں دیکھ لو، حسین مجھ سے ہیں اور میں حسین سے ہوں. حسین منی کا مفہوم تو سب سمجھتے ہیں کہ آپ نواسہ رسول تھے، لیکن میں حسین سے ہوں اس کا مطلب میرے مولا نے خواجہ اجمیری کے وہ ربائی کے تیسرا مصرع جو ہے، خواجہ اجمیری کی مشہور ربائی ہے شاست حسین، حسین شاہ ہے، بادشاہست حسین، حسین بادشاہ ہے، دینست حسین، حسین دین ہے، دین پناہ است حسین، حسین دین کو پناہ دینے والے، پروٹیکٹ کرنے والے، سیو کرنے والے، دین پناہ است حسین. تیسرا جو جملہ ہے ان کا، سرداد نہ داد، سر دے دیا نہ داد، نہیں دیا دست در دست یزید. کیا کہا خواجہ اجمیری نے کہ اپنا سر دے دیا، نہیں دیا اپنا ہاتھ یزید کے ہاتھ میں. حقا کے بنا لا الہ است حسین، کہ حق تو یہ ہے کہ اب لا الہ الا اللہ کا بانی حسین ہے. 60 ہجری تک اسلام اللہ کے رسول کا تھا، 61 ہجری سے اسلام حسین کا ہو گیا. اب جب بھی لا الہ الا اللہ بولے گا تو احسان حسین ہمارے سامنے آئے گا، وہ سیکریفائز ہمارے سامنے آئے گا. جو بھی دنیا میں 1 بلین، مور دین 1 بلین لا الہ الا اللہ محمد رسول اللہ بول رہے ہیں، ان کو احساس ہونا کہ اس لا الہ الا اللہ محمد رسول اللہ میں اس احسان کی خوشبو ہے کہ جو مولا حسین کے خون کی تھی. اپنے خون سے ہمیشہ کے لیے اسلام کو زندہ کر دیا، لائف دے دی. ورنہ 61 ہجری میں اسلام کی جو کشتی تھی، جو بوٹ تھی، جو شپ آف اسلام تھی، وہ ڈوب گئی تھی. حسین نے اپنے خون سے اس شپ کو ایسا اٹھا کے ہمیشہ فار ایور حسین نے زندہ کر دیا. شاعر کہتا ہے کہ بجھ سکے گا نہ یہ طوفان حوادث سے کبھی، خون شبیر کا اسلام سے جلتا ہے چراغ. آج جو اسلام کا چراغ جل رہا وہ خون شبیر سے اسلام کا چراغ جل رہا. کتنی بڑی بات ہے کہ مولا حسین نے ہمیشہ کے لیے زندگی دے دی، اور آپ ایسی زندگی دی کہ اب کوئی بھی طوفان بھی آ جائے، کوئی بڑے سے بڑا سائیکلون آ جائے، اسلام کو نہیں لا سکتا. اس لیے کہ اب اسلام کے اندر حسین کا خون بھرا ہوا ہے، حسین کا بلڈ ہے، کہ جنہوں نے 61 ہجری میں ہمیشہ کے لیے یزید کو ذلیل و رسوا کر کے ختم کر دیا. آپ انصاف سے بولو کہ یزید کی حکومت کتنی بڑی تھی. کوئی چھوٹی حکومت پہ کام کر رہا تھا؟ وہ خالی سیریا کا حاکم تھا؟ نو، پورا سعودی عربیہ، پورا سیریا، لبنان، اسرائیل، جارڈن، پورا مڈل ایسٹ، کمپلیٹ مڈل ایسٹ، گلف کنٹریز، اس کے بعد یمن، ایران، سینٹرل افریقہ، سوڈان، ایجپٹ اور نیچے سندھ تک، اتنی بڑی حکومت کا مالک تھا وہ. ظالم کو اتنے لوگوں نے بیعت کی تھی، اتنی بڑی حکومت کا مالک تھا. اینڈ کیا ہوا؟ لاکھوں لوگوں نے بیعت کی، ملینز کی تعداد میں اس کے ہاتھ اس کو ایکسپٹ کیے تھے، لیکن ایک حسین نہیں کرتے تو کیا فرق پڑتا؟ وائی ہی واز فورسنگ امام حسین. ملینز نے اس کو بیعت کی، ایک مولا حسین نے نہیں کی تھی. لیکن وہ یزید ظالم ہے، کافر ہے، مشرک ہے، جہنمی ہے، بٹ ہی نوز کہ ملینز کی بیعت ایک طرف ہے، حسین کی بیعت ایک طرف. اور وہی ہوا کہ حسین اپنی پوری طاقت کے ساتھ آئے، اور انہوں نے اسلام کو، صرف اسلام کو نہیں بچایا، ہیومینٹی کو بچایا، انسانیت کو بچایا. دیٹس وائی وی سے کہ امام حسین از اے سیویئر آف ہیومینٹی. انسانیت کے بچائے، ایک انسان کو نہیں بچایا، سیویئر آف ہیومینٹی ہے. مولا حسین کا جو پیغام ہے نا، یزید اتنا بڑا ہاتھ نہیں دیا، اس کے ہاتھ میں ہاتھ نہیں دیا. ہم کو کیا پیغام ہے کہ اس کریج کو پیدا کرو، زندگی میں کبھی کمپرومائز اس چیز پہ نہیں کرنا. میں یوتھ کو بول رہا ہوں، اللہ امام بارگاہ لاس اینجلس سے، پلیز لسن پراپرلی واٹ آئی ایم سیئنگ. تم ہر چیز میں کمپرومائز کرو. کربلا کا بیسک میسج یہ ہے، کربلا کا پیغام یہ ہے، ہر چیز میں کمپرومائز کرو، بٹ نو کمپرومائز ان ولایت امیر المومنین اینڈ عزائے حسین. اس لیے کہ کربلا میں ولایت امیر المومنین کی بھی جنگ تھی. آپ بولیں گے کیسے تھی؟ جب عاشورے کے دن میرا مولا میدان میں آیا، میرا مولا حسین عصر کے وقت پورا گھر لٹ گیا. سارا گھر لٹنے کے بعد جب حسین اکیلے آئے، حسین نے عمر سعد کو بلایا، اس ظالم کو بلا کے کہا I want to talk to you. وہ آیا، کہا ابن رسول اللہ بولے. ابن رسول اللہ بھی بول رہا، قتل کرنے کے لیے بھی آمادہ ہے ظالم. بلا کے کہا جو یہ جو فوج ہے نا، آرمی جو تھی، آپ کو معلوم کتنی آرمی تھی؟ 100,000 120,000 120,000 کی روایت بھی ہے، 1,00,000 کی بھی ہے. اف یو ٹیک 100,000 یو کین امیجن کہ 100,000 خالی فوج نہیں تھی، اس کے ساتھ سپورٹ سٹاف تھا، 30-40 ہزار کا سپورٹ سٹاف تھا. آلموسٹ 1.5,000 یعنی 1.5 1,50,000 1,50,000 اپروکسیمیٹلی بول رہا فوج کھڑی ہوئی تھی، انسان کھڑے ہوئے تھے وہاں پہ. اور اس کے ساتھ جانور ہیں، کیملز ہیں، ہارسز ہیں، اور سب کے ہاتھوں میں ہتھیار ہیں، ایک دوسرے سے ٹکرائیں گے. تو عاشورے کے دن اتنی آواز تھی. صرف یہ ظالم اتنی فوج کو کیوں جمع کیا؟ شہر کے شہر خالی کر دیا. یزید کو ہوس تھی انسانوں کی جمع کرنے کے لیے. ایک حسین اور 1,50,000 کی فوج، 1,00,000 کی فوج، ایک حسین. فوج آ گئی. کیوں؟ کہ کربلا میں مولا حسین کی فیملی کو، بیویوں کو، سیدانیوں اور بچوں پہ ایک دہشت، ایک پاور بٹھائے, دہشت بٹھائے, حسین کے بچے ڈر جائیں, چھوٹے چھوٹے بچے ڈر جائیں کہ اتنی فوج, اتنی بڑی فوج, اتنی تھی کہ میری بیوی نے کہا تھا شب عاشور کے بھیا تم بھی تو کسی کو بلاؤ, تو کہا ہاں میں نے حبیب کو بلایا. اتنی فوج کھڑی ہوئی, آرمی کھڑی ہوئی ہے کہ اب میری طرف دیکھو, لک ایٹ می, اتنے قریب بھی اگر کوئی جاتا نا تو اس کے کانوں میں آواز نہیں آ رہی تھی, اتنی چیخیں تھی. جانور جو پکار رہے تھے, اینیمل جو پکار رہے تھے, ان کی آواز تھی. جو ہاتھ میں جو ہتھیار تھے وہ ٹکرا رہے تھے, اس کی آواز تھی. پھر انسان جو کھڑے ہوئے تھے, آرمی جو کھڑی, ان کی سانس لینے کی آواز, ان کے بولنے کی آواز. تو کربلا کے میدان میں دہشت آوازیں تھی. مولا حسین نے ظالم عمر صاحب کو بلایا, I want to talk to you. He said, yes, فرزند رسول, یا رسول اللہ کے بیٹے بولو. امام نے کہا پہلے آوازوں کو بند کروا دیں, یہ ساری آوازیں جو آ رہی نا اس کو بند کروا, بس یہ بولنا تھا. عمر صاحب و شاپ, اس نے کہا, جس کے جملے سنو, اس نے کہا کہ فرزند رسول اگر میں انسانوں کی آوازوں کو بند بھی کروا دوں تو جانوروں کی آواز کیسے بند کروا, یہ ہتھیار کے ٹکرانے کی آواز کیسے بند, انسان کی بھی نہیں کر سکتا. اگر میں بند کروا بھی دوں تو یہ ہتھیار اور یہ جانوروں کی آواز کو کیسے بند کروں گا. اللہ اکبر. حسین نے کہا you want me to do it, you want me to do it. He said یہ آپ کا اختیار ہے. دوستو, جنگ سے پہلے حسین نے دنیا کو بتایا کہ حسین کی طاقت کیا ہے, حسین کی قوت کیا ہے, پاور آف امام حسین کیا ہے. جنگ سٹارٹ کرنے سے پہلے میرے مولا نے بتایا دنیا کو کہ میں حجت خدا ہوں, میں زمین پہ امام زمانہ ہوں. اس وقت I show you my power, I show you my power. تیرا پاور اور میرے پاور میں دیکھ کیا, تو ایک خاکی ظالم انسان ہے اور میں اللہ کا محبوب ترین بندہ ہوں, اللہ کا نامینیٹڈ ہوں, اللہ کی طرف سے آیا ہوں, حجت خدا. امام نے کہا you want me to show you, you want me to do it. کہا آپ کا اختیار ہے. عاشورے کی شام میں مولا حسین نے ایک گلانس کیا زمین سے لے کے آسمان تک, پوری فوج کی طرف ایک رخ کیا. رخ کا کرنا تھا. حسین نے دنیا کو بتایا کہ حجت خدا کی طاقت کیا ہے, کرنا تھا. سارا لشکر خاموش ہو گیا. جو ہاتھوں میں ہتھیار تھے وہ ہتھیار ایک جگہ ٹھہر گئے. جانوروں کی سانس لینے کی آواز بند ہو گئی. امام نے بتا دیا کہ ہماری حکومت صرف انسانوں پہ نہیں ہے, جانوروں پہ بھی ہے, ہتھیاروں پہ بھی ہے. سب خاموش ہو گئے. میں تو بولتا کائنات میں سکتہ چھا گیا, پوری دنیا میں سکتہ چھا گیا. پن ڈراپ سائلنس. ایسے موقع پر ایک آواز آ رہی تھی, وہ حسین کے خیمے سے آ رہی تھی, بچوں کی آواز تھی, التش 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 التش, ہم پیاسے ہم پیاسے ہم پیاسے ہم پیاسے. حسین نے کہا ان بچوں تک پانی بھیجوا دے. He said impossible. خدا لعنت ہے اسے. جب بھی پانی پینا لاس اینجلس whole life, your whole life, whenever you drink water, میں youth کو بول رہا, بڑوں کو نہیں بول رہا. Whenever you drink water, whenever you take sip of water, always say this, سلمان بن حسین لعنت ہے. دل میں بولو, دل میں بولو, آہستہ بولو, بٹ سے, اس لیے کہ یہ امام حسین کی وصیت ہے, مولا حسین کی وصیت ہے کہ جب پانی پینا میری پیاس کو یاد کرو. یو ہیو ٹو ریممبر کہ تمہارا حسین تھرسٹی تھا, اس سے بڑا کوئی پیاسا نہیں تھا, جس کے بچے پیاسے شروع ہو گئے. تو اس وقت امام نے اس نے کہا امپاسبل. اس کے بعد امام نے پوچھا کہ کیا میں نے اسلام میں چینج لایا, کیا میں نے حرام کو حلال کیا ہے جیسے یزید نے کیا. He said no, you didn't do anything, you didn't do anything. پھر امام نے کہا کہ میں نے کیا کیا. Why are you fighting with me? Why you want to kill me? یہ امام کا جملہ ہے. Why you want to kill me? For what? What I did? You know what he said? Do you know what he said? अब आप जुमला मैंने कहा था विलायत अमीर अल-मोमिनीन की जंग है। जब इमाम ने ये कहा, then why are you fighting with me? Why you want to kill me? उस वक्त ये जालिम उमर साद ने कमांडर इन चीफ ऑफ यजीद आर्मी, खुदा लानत करे इन पे, he said हुसैन, जब मौला हुसैन ने कहा कि क्यों लड़ रहा मुझसे, तो ही जालिम said बुग़्ज़न लअबी, आपके बाप के बुग़्ज़, इन अली की दुश्मन। इमाम ने आस्तीन को साउंड दिया, उलट के कहा मुझ पर जंग वाजिब हो गई। मेरे बाप की दुश्मनी में है तुम? मेरे बाप ने कभी किसी इंसान पर तलवार नहीं चलाई, दुश्मन खुदा पे चलाई। वेरी क्लियर मैसेज, वेरी वेरी क्लियर मैसेज। हुसैन ने क्या कहा? मेरे बाप ने जितनी जंगें लड़ी है अपने लिए नहीं लड़ी, अपने पावर के लिए नहीं लड़ी। अगर लड़ना रहता तो खिलाफत ले लेते, लड़ना रहता खिलाफत ले लेते। अली मदीने में जगह निकाल के ये जालिमीन को खत्म कर देते। अली ने अपने लिए कभी जंग नहीं लड़ी, जब भी लड़ी उसके लिए लड़ी, हुक्म रसूल से, सिर्फ अल्लाह के लिए। अदरवाइज इमाम हुसैन ने आस्तीन का से उलट के कहा मुझ पर जंग वाजिब ना आदि शोध। तो आपने देखा करबला जो थी ना, ये अली की दुश्मनी में जमा हुई थी। तो हमेशा मैं अपने यूथ को बोल रहा हूँ कि इमाम हुसैन ने करबला में हमको एक करेज दिया, इमाम हुसैन ने करबला में हमको एक पावर दिया। करबला एक गर्ल्स का नाम है, करबला करेज का नाम है, करबला पावर का नाम है, करबला बोलने का नाम है, करबला खामोश बैठने का नाम नहीं है। लॉस एंजलिस में खामोश बैठने का नाम नहीं, अपनी जिंदगी में खामोश नहीं बैठना। मेरा मतलब ये नहीं है कि तुम लॉस एंजलिस के बाजार में जाओ, डाउनटाउन में जाओ, जाके बोलो नो 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 नो, यूनिट में जाओ, नहीं, कहीं रोड पे मत आवाज निकालो, इसलिए कि तुमको ये प्रेजेंट करना है कि योर रिलीजन इज द मोस्ट पीसफुल रिलीजन ऑन द अर्थ। योर रिलीजन, यू फॉलो इमाम हुसैन, you follow Imam Ali, that your religion, our religion is the most peaceful religion on the earth. You have to show everybody, you have to prove everybody कि हम सिर्फ पीस की बात करते हैं, अमन की बात करते हैं। We don't want to fight। हमारे पास कोई टेररिस्ट नहीं है, टेररिज्म की विक्टिम हम बने। पहला टेररिस्ट यजीद नहीं था, यजीद से पहले 50 साल पहले, 50 ईयर्स बिफोर, यजीद तो बाद में बना, लेकिन पहला जो टेरर अटैक हुआ इस्लाम में, फर्स्ट टेरर अटैक इन द इस्लाम, रसूल की आंख बंद होने के बाद, रसूल की शहादत के 3 दिन के बाद, रसूल की बेटी का जो दरवाजा खुला, मेरी मजलूम शहर हुसैन की माँ का जो दरवाजा खुला, और हुसैन की मजलूम माँ जो शहीद हुई, वो पहला टेरर अटैक था इस्लाम में। वी कंडेम वो टेरर अटैक पहला था। उसके बाद मुख्तलिफ होते हैं, इब्ने मुजिम का, उसके बाप का, फिर ज्यादा का, उसके बाप का, बख्तमार का, जालिमीन का, फिर यजीद था। यजीद 50 साल के बाद आया। पहला टेरर अटैक 11 हिजरी में हुआ, अल्लाह के रसूल की आंख बंद हुई, और जालिमीन ने वो जुल्म अजीम किया कि रसूल की बेटी पे को दरवाजा करा गया। एक सलवात पढ़े मोहम्मद। तो मेरा मतलब ये नहीं है, मेरा मतलब क्या है कि बहुत एहतियात के साथ, पीसफुल तरीके से। अब ये 10 दिन गुजर गए मुहर्रम के। आज आपके पास लॉस एंजलिस में आज 11 मुहर्रम की रात है। टुमारो इज 12th एंड टुमारो इज सैटरडे, टुनाइट इज फ्राइडे, वीकेंड भी आ गया। तो व्हाट्स योर प्लान? प्लान क्या है? 10 दिन के बाद तुमने 10 दिन बहुत अज़ादारी की, तुमने 10 दिन बड़ा मातम किया, 10 दिन बड़े डोनेशंस दिए, मजलिसों को स्पॉन्सर किया, बहुत अच्छा काम किया। یاد رکھو جنہوں نے بھی اس عشرے میں اور کمنگ اشعار میں کمنگ مجالس میں جو بھی اسپانسر کرنا چاہتا الاسر میں اسپانسر کرنا جو امام مارگا میں کرنا چاہتا. اور یہ چیز یاد رکھو مولا حسین کسی کا رکھتے نہیں, امام حسین کسی کا نہیں رکھتے. اگر تمہارے $500 $600 $700 خرچ ہو, $1000 خرچ ہو, تو یو ڈونٹ نیڈ ٹو ورری. میں بڑی آسانی سے نہیں بول رہا, یہ ریالٹی ہے کہ میں بول رہا. دین یو ڈونٹ نیڈ ٹو ورری. $1000 اگر مثال ایگزامپل دے رہا, مجھے نہیں معلوم کتنا خرچ ہے, ایگزامپل تم نے $1000 دیا تو گارنٹی اس کا 70 گنا فائدہ ہے. آپ بزنس کمیونٹی ہے, آپ بزنس کر رہے ہیں, اگر آپ کو لینا ہے ملنا ہے تب آپ دیکھو. حسین کبھی کسی کا نہیں رہتا. ایک خرچ کرو 70 لوگوں سے, 70 ٹائمس لو. اور آزمائی ہوئی بات ہے, پوری دنیا میں آزمائی ہوئی بات ہے کہ لاکھوں لوگ, آج مولا حسین کا بجٹ کچھ اور ہے. آپ انصاف سے بولو, اربعین حسین میں جو لوگ کھانا کھلاتے 5 دن کا بجٹ بول رہا ہوں, جسٹ 5 days. 11-12 سفر سے شروع ہو, 16-17 سفر تک جا رہا, پھر 18 سفر سے قافلے کربلا کے لیے جا رہے. 12 میں 5 دن کی بات کر, پورے جو موقف ہے وہاں پہ, سارے موقف کے اوپر کوئی بتا سکتا کہ ان موقف پہ کتنا خرچہ ہو رہا؟ 5 دن کا, پلیز غور سے سنو, 5 دن کا حسین کا بجٹ ایک بڑی بڑی کنٹری کا اینول بجٹ ہے. مولا حسین کا بجٹ ایک بڑی بڑی کنٹریز کا اینول بجٹ ہے. اتنا بڑا بجٹ ہے مولا حسین کا. حسین دیتا اسی انداز سے. آج پوری دنیا میں مولا حسین کے اوپر جو خرچ ہوتا وہ کسی پہ خرچ نہیں ہوتا. کوئی ریلیجن میں مجھے ایک چیز بتاؤ کہ کوئی ریلیجن میں اتنا کوئی خرچ کرتا اور خرچ کرنے کے بعد روتا نہیں ہے, تکلیف نہیں ہوتی, بلکہ دل اتنا بڑھ جاتا and we say thank you to Allah کہ اللہ تیرا شکر ہے کہ you have given us chance کہ ہم حسین کے لیے کچھ کر سکیں. میری ریکویسٹ ہے آپ سے, حسین نے پورا گھر لٹایا, حسین نے پورا گھر لٹا دیا, اور آج ہم کچھ مت کرو. لیکن اب کل 12 محرم کنٹینیوس 8 ربیع الاول تک 8 ربیع الاول تک اذا ہے, یاد رکھو. یہ نہیں کہ کل کے بعد گھروں میں چلیں گے, یہ نہیں کہ کل کے بعد اور ریلیکس ہو گیا پھر 40 میں کریں گے. نو, 40 میں نہیں دوستو, ابھی تم کو کنٹینیوس کرنا ہے. ایک چیز یاد رکھو, جو بھی مجلس کرے گا, جو بھی مجلس میں آئے گا, جو بھی فرش اذا پہ آئے گا, اس کی زندگی ہے, مولا نے بہت دے گا اس کو. ایک صلوات پڑھے محمد والے. تو میری کتنی ایسی بیماریاں ہیں کہ جو تم مجلس میں آنے سے فرش اذا سے دور ہوتی, کتنی ایسی بیماریاں ہیں, کتنی ایسی ڈیزیز ہیں کہ جو آنے والی. اب آپ انصاف سے بولو, کل کیا ہونے والا ہے بول سکتے ہیں؟ ٹمارو مارننگ, اب رات ہو رہی نا آپ کی, ٹمارو مارننگ کیا ہونے والا ہے آپ بول سکتے ہیں؟ میری باڈی کے اندر ہڈن بیماریاں کتنی ہیں مجھے معلوم ہے. میں بہت پرفیکٹ دکھ رہا ہوں اس کا کرم سے, اس کے کرم سے, لیکن کتنی ہڈن بیماریاں ہیں اندر کوئی بول سکتا؟ کوئی بول سکتا. تم جو نیاز کھلاتے اس نیاز سے کتنی ہڈن بیماریاں جو چلی جاتی. یہ یاد رکھو. بی اسٹرانگ ان یور فیتھ. اب عاشورہ گزرا نا, بی اسٹرانگ ان یور فیتھ. اپنے فیتھ میں اسٹرانگ ہو, اپنے بیلیز میں اسٹرانگ ہو. اگر تم اپنے فیتھ پہ اسٹرانگ ہے تو تمہارے لیے کامیابی ہے, بہترین کامیابی. اگر تم اپنے آلویز اس کے لیے نماز شب پڑھنا. میں نے آج بولا آپ کو, کل کی مجلس میں 9 محرم کی مجلس میں بولا تھا کہ 11 محرم سے امام حسین کی ایک زیارت اربعین. آج 11 محرم تھی. اگر آپ لوگوں نے نہیں پڑھی کسی نے تو پلیز after the majlis, recite ज़ियारत अर्बईन. कब तक पढ़ो? टिल अर्बईन, 40 days. आपको मालूम इसका सबसे बड़ा जो गिफ्ट है जो मौला हुसैन से हमको मिलेगा इंशाअल्लाह, वो तुमको करबला की ज़ियारत हो जाएगी अर्बईन. इससे बड़ा गिफ्ट क्या चाहिए? अगर ये मुहर्रम में मेरा मौला मुझे अर्बईन को बुला ले तो सबसे बड़ा गोल्डन गिफ्ट मौला ने मुझे आशुरा में दिया, मुहर्रम में दिया. इससे बड़ा ऑनर या इससे बड़ी नेमत क्या है कि अगर मुझे अर्बईन में ये मिल गया. तो बस मेरी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि डोंट फॉरगेट टू रेसाइट ज़ियारत अर्बईन फ्रॉम टुनाइट या फ्रॉम टुडे आफ्टरनून में कोई पढ़ा है तो बहुत अच्छा. अगर किसी ने नहीं पढ़ा है तो यू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम टुनाइट टिल द डे ऑफ अर्बईन. एनी टाइम यू कैन रेसाइट, कभी भी पढ़ सकते, होल डे. सुबह पढ़ो, दोपहर में पढ़ो, जो भी आपको कन्वीनियंट है. 10 मिनट की बात, इट्स मैटर ऑफ 10 minutes. प्लीज ये अहद कर लो. मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट कर, जो भी अल-असर में मुझे सुन रहा, और ये मेरे मैसेज को आगे बढ़ाओ, लोगों को बोलो जो अल-असर में नहीं आते, जो आपका फ्रेंड सर्कल है, जो डिफरेंट इमाम बारगाह को जाते, जो जिस इमाम बारगाह को जाता है वो जाए. हर इमाम बारगाह को आबाद रखना और उनको भी बोलो. मैक्सिमम लोगों तक ये मैसेज पहुंचाओ कि रेसाइट जाते हैं भाई, रेसाइट जाते हैं भाई, रेसाइट जाते हैं भाई, रेसाइट जाते हैं टिल अर्बईन. फ्रॉम 11th you will see the change, or you will see the blessing of Imam Maulana Hussain ki blessing. Very very strong ज़ियारत, very very extraordinary ज़ियारत, and very very recommended ज़ियारत. बस दोस्तों आज मुझे ज़्यादा बोलना नहीं है, आप भी थके हुए, जो इंशाल्लाह फिर कभी किसी मजलिस में. थैंक यू वेरी मच. आप लोग पूरा 10 दिन मेरी टूटी फूटी अल्फाज सुने, मजलिसें सुने. अगर पूरे 10 days में कल शाम गरीबा तक आपने सुना, पूरे 10 days में कोई एक भी चेंज हो जाएगा, एक, तो मेरा मकसद पूरा हो गया. बस मेरे लिए डोंट फॉरगेट मी इन योर दुआस, डोंट फॉरगेट मी इन योर दुआस. आज का दिन भी बड़ा मुसीबत का दिन था, क़यामत का दिन था. बड़ी आसानी से मैंने मजलिस पढ़ ली. आज इंडिया में आशुरा है, आज मैं आशुरे के दिन है. इंडिया में आशुरा फ्राइडे है और आपके पास थर्सडे था. कोई बात नहीं, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि जो भी अल-असर में है आज ये ज़ियारत की मजलिस कर रहे ना, सय्युम की कर रहे ना. ज़ियारत किसको बोलते हैं? जब कोई मर जाता सेकेंड डे या थर्ड डे में मजलिस करते, सेकेंड डे करते या थर्ड डे करते, ये वो ज़ियारत की मजलिस. यानी शहादत 10 को भी 12 को, ये शब 12 की मजलिस, 11 का दिन गुजरने के बाद मगरिब के बाद वाली मजलिस. दोस्तों बस मैं मजलिस ख़त्म कर दिया. मैं आपसे पूछता कि ये बताओ कि जब 11 मुहर्रम आज का दिन सुबह में क़यामत का दिन था, क़यामत का, ये वो दिन था कि बीबी ज़ैनब थी लेकिन हुसैन नहीं था, सैदानिया थी, बीबी उम्मे कुलसूम थी, मौला अब्बास नहीं थे, पर्दे का मुहाफ़िज़. लैला थी लेकिन अली अकबर नहीं था, उम्मे फरवा थी लेकिन क़ासिम नहीं थे, बीबी रबाब थी लेकिन अली असगर भी नहीं थे, अली असगर का झूला भी जल चुका था. क़यामत की सुबह है, आज की सुबह ख़ानदान अहले बैत पे, शोहदाए करबला, वो मुसीबत कल की शाम में गरीबा गुजरी, गरीबों की रात गुजरी कि जिस रात में जालिमों ने हुसैन के बच्चों को इतना मारा. जब पहला तमाचा बीबी सकीना को पड़ा तो उस वक्त बीबी को एहसास हुआ कि मैं यतीम हो गई. दोस्तों कानों से गोशवारे छीन लिए गए. हुसैन की यतीम सब्र करती रही, ये बोलती रही. हमीद कहता है कि मैंने देखा जब खैमे जल रहे थे तो मैंने देखा कि एक बच्ची है जिसके दामन में आग लगी हुई. मैं आगे बढ़ के बुझाना चाहा, बच्ची 4 साल के पीछे हट के कहा, शेख हमारे करीब नहीं आना, हम अहले बैत है. उसने कहा बीवी मुझे माफ़ कर दो, मैं करीब नहीं, मैं आपकी आग बुझाना चाहता. तो उस वक्त सकीना ने कहा, शेख तो बड़ा मेहमान मालूम होता, इसलिए कि बाबा के बाद किसी ने तमाचा मारा, किसी ने कानों से गोशवारे छीने. शेख ये बता नजफ का रास्ता कहाँ है? उसने कहा बीबी तुम नजफ जाके क्या करोगी? तो सकीना ने कहा कि मैं जाके नजफ में मेरे दादा को فریاد کروں گی کہ دادا کربلا میں آگ لگی ہوئی ہے. عزیزوں وہ قیامت کی رات گزری, 11 محرم کی صبح, آج کی صبح نمودار ہوئی. سیدانیاں ایک کے بعد ایک سواری پہ سوار ہوتے رہے, بس میں مجلس ختم کر رہا. اور جب سب کو بی بی زینب نے سوار کیا, آخر میں چوتھے امام رہ گئے اور جناب فضا کو بھی سوار کیا. چوتھے امام نے کہا پھوپھی اماں میں آپ کو سوار کروں گا. تو بی بی نے کہا نہیں بیٹا, بھائی نے میرے حوالے کیا, تم کو بھی میں سوار کروں گی. بس جب چوتھے امام بھی سوار ہو گئے تو دوستوں میری بیوی بالکل اکیلی ہو گئی. یہ پہلا موقع تھا کہ زینب کو کوئی سوار کرنے والا نہیں تھا. بچپنے میں کبھی نانا نے بٹھایا, کبھی بابا نے بٹھایا, جب بھائی لوگ بڑے ہو گئے تو بھائیوں نے بٹھایا, سہارا دیا, لیکن آج کوئی زینب کو سوار کرنے والا نہیں. عزیزوں بیوی کا دل پھٹ گیا, کسی کو نہیں پکارا, حسین کو آواز نہیں دی, علی اکبر و قاسم اور محمد کو نہیں پکارا. بیوی پلٹی نہر کی طرف اور کہا عباس اٹھو بھیا, جب مدینے سے چلے تھے تم نے سوار کیا تھا, بھیا آگے اپنی بہن کو سوار کرو. عزیزوں میں دل کہتا ہے کہ غازی کا لاشا فرات کے قریب تڑپ رہا ہوگا کہ ہائے میری شہزادی میں مجبور ہوں. بس یہ اونٹ اٹھے, جب چلنے لگے تو بی بی لیلا نے پہلی مرتبہ علی اکبر کے لاشے کو دیکھا. کہاں دیکھا؟ جلتی ہوئی ریت پہ دیکھا. تو لیلا نے اونٹ کی بلندی سے کہا کہ میرے لال آج کے بعد تمہاری ماں کبھی سائے میں نہیں بیٹھے گی بیٹا, اس لیے کہ تمہارا لاشا دھوپ میں پڑا, میں سائے میں کیسے جاؤں گی؟ جب دھوپ نکلے گی بیٹا میں دھوپ میں آگے بیٹھ کے فریاد کروں گی. بس دوستوں میں نے مجلس ختم کر دی. اور جب قافلہ آگے بڑھا تو شہزادی نے محسوس کیا کہ مولا حسین کے لاشے کے قریب چوتھے امام کھڑے ہوئے, سر سے پیر تک کانپ رہے. تو اس وقت بی بی نے اپنے آپ کو اونٹ سے زمین پہ گرایا. ارے میں نے کہہ دیا, آپ نے سن لیا, اونٹ سے زمین پہ آنا کیسے آئی؟ زیارت, آپ میری طرف دیکھو, لک ایٹ می. زیارت نائیہ میں میرا امام زمانہ سلام کرتا دادی زینب کو یہ کہہ کے کہ میرا سلام ہو دادی زینب پر کہ جس کے دونوں ہاتھ پسے گردن سے بندھے ہوئے تھے. زینب اونٹ سے ایسے آئی جیسے عباس گھوڑے سے زمین پر آئے سر کے پر. بس مجلس ختم ہو گئی. زینب نے امام سے کہا کہ بیٹا اپنے آپ کو سنبھالو. تو امام نے کہا پھوپھی اماں آپ سنبھالو. کہا نہیں میرے لال تم سنبھالو. تو اس وقت چوتھے امام نے تڑپ کے کہا کہ پھوپھی اماں میں کیسے سنبھالوں, ارے میں جوان بیٹا ہوں, یہ میرے بابا حسین کا پامال لاشا ہے, ارے میں باپ کو دفن بھی نہیں کر سکتا. شہزادی نے مدینے کا رخ کیا, کہا نانا یہ آپ کا حسین ہے نانا, جس کا لاشا گھوڑوں سے پامال ہو گیا. بس یہی دعا کرتا کہ یہ مجلس میری بیوی کی بارگاہ میں قبول ہو جائے, میری مظلوم بیوی کی بارگاہ میں یہ ساری مجالس قبول ہو جائے. یہ ساری مجالس ہم سب کے لیے بخشش کا سہارا بنے. al-Asr امام بارگاہ کے سارے جو مینجمنٹ ہے, ہمارے کمیل بھائی اور ان کی پوری فیملی اور انٹائر ٹیم, اور جنہوں نے اسپانسر کیا ہے, اللہ ان کی مجالس کو قبول کر لے. آج ہمارا عاشورہ ہے, میں ایک ہی دعا کرتا ہوں کہ اللہ عاشورے کا واسطہ جنت البقیع, جنت المولا, جناب حمزہ اور اہل بیت کی خبروں پہ سایہ کر کے روشن کر. آج جمعے کا دن ہے انڈیا میں, پروردگار میرے امام کو تو سلامت ہے, وارث کربلا کو سلامت ہے, اور بیماروں کو شفا دے دے, عزاداری کی حفاظت فرما. بس یہ دعا ہے عاشورے کی کہ عزاداری کی حفاظت فرما, اور عزاخانوں کی حفاظت فرما, اور سارے عزاداروں کی اور بانیان مجلس کی جو مجلسیں کرواتے ہیں, اللہ ان کو صحت اور عزت کے ساتھ رکھے, سب کو سلامت رکھ. میرے امام کے ظہور میں تعجیل فرما. ہم سب کو گیو اس چانس کہ ہم تیرے دین کی, تیرے بندوں کی خدمت کر سکیں. ہمارے گناہ کبیرہ صغیرہ کو معاف کر دے. میرے امام کے ظہور میں تعجیل فرما.
Not as to what? Allah.
teardrop.
چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ ہو گیا چہلو کر چکی ماتم زندگی بھر ہے اب تو محرم ہو گیا چہلو کر چکی ماتم زندگی بھر ہے اب تو محرم راب قیامت اب ہے تڑپنا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ بن گئی قبریں نظر دلا دی اشکوں کی چادر سب کو اڑا دی بن گئی قبریں نظر دلا دی اشکوں کی چادر سب کو اڑا دی گھر چلو اب تو جی کھول کے رونا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی اماں ہوگی قیامت پوچھے جو بابا ہم سے برکات اے پھوپھی اماں ہوگی قیامت پوچھے جو بابا ہم سے برکات کیوں نہیں آئی بالی سکینہ چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ یہ مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ یہ مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ قبر نبی پر پہلے چلیں گے گریہ کریں گے نوحہ پڑھیں گے قبر نبی پر پہلے چلیں گے گریہ کریں گے نوحہ پڑھیں گے گزری جو ہم پر نانا سے کہنا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ قید میں گزرا سارا محرم مجلس و ماتم کر نہ سکے ہم قید میں گزرا سارا محرم مجلس و ماتم کر نہ سکے ہم گھر میں عزا کا فرش بچھانا چلیے پھوپھی اماں وطن چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ چلیے مدینہ اے پھوپھی چلیے مدینہ یا حسین
یا
یا
حسین
حسین
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین اے قاسم 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 قیدی بن کر پابند رسن لاشوں سے جو گزرے اہل حرم ہر بی اپنے پیاروں سے ہوتی تھی ودا کر کے ماتم ایک بی فاطمہ بنت حسن پامال وطن قاسم کسی ایک جا سے رخصت نہ ہوئی کسی ایک جا سے رخصت نہ ہوئی ٹکڑوں میں جو تھا بھائی کا بدن کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر آئے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر آئے قاسم تیری بہن غریب نو نہیں بھولڑا تیری بہن غریب نو نہیں بھولڑا تیرے قتل دا منظر آئے قاسم ہائے 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 قاسم کبھی صحرا دیکھ کے روتی تھی کبھی غش کھا کے گر جاتی تھی کبھی صحرا دیکھ کے روتی تھی کبھی غش کھا کے گر جاتی تھی پامال ہوا تھا بھائی جہاں پامال ہوا تھا بھائی جہاں اس خون پہ گر کر آئے قاسم 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 قیدی بن کر پابند رسن لاشوں سے جو گزرے اہل حرم ہر بی اپنے پیاروں سے ہوتی تھی ودا کر کے ماتم ایک بی فاطمہ بنت حسن پامال وطن قاسم کی بہن کسی ایک جا سے رخصت نہ ہوئی کسی ایک جا سے رخصت نہ ہوئی ٹکڑوں میں جو تھا بائی کا بدن کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر آئے قاسم کبھی اس ٹکڑے پر آئے قاسم تیری بہن غریب نو نہیں بھولنا تیری بہن غریب نو نہیں بھولنا تیرے قتل دا منظر آئے قاسم ہائے 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 قاسم یا حسین 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 اللہم صلی علی محمد
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم الہی عظم البلا وبرح الکفا وانکشف الغطاء وانکتر الرجا وزاكت الأرض ومنعت السماء وأنت المستعان وإليك المشتكى وإليك المأول في شدتي ورخاء اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وللأمر الذين فرضت علينا طاعتهم وعرفتنا بذلك منزلتهم ففرج عنا بحقهم فرجا عاجلا قريبا كلمح البصر أو هو أكرم يا محمد يا علي يا علي يا محمد اكفياني فإنكما كافيان وانصراني فإنكما ناصران يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان الغوث 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 أدركني 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 الساعة 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 الأجل 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 يا أرحم الراحمين بحق محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
زیادہ حضرت عباس بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم Assalamu alaikum ya Abu al-Fajr Abbas ibn Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alaikum ya Ibn Sayyid al-Wasina. Assalamu alaikum ayyuha Abdus Sallallahu Mutiyo Lillahi wa alayhi Rasulihi. Assalamu alaikum ya Afzal Shahadai. Assalamu alaikum جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. زاد امام حسین السلام علیکم یا عبد اللہ السلام علیکم یا ابن رسول اللہ السلام علیکم یا ابن امیر المومنین السلام علیکم یا ابن فاطمہ الزہرا السلام علیکم یا ابو الفضل عباس السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. اللهم صل علی محمد وآل محمد. زاد امام علی بن موسیٰ رضا السلام علیکم یا غریب الغرباء السلام علیکم یا علی بن موسیٰ رضا السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. اللهم صل علی محمد وآل محمد وسلم. زاد امام مہدی علیہ السلام السلام علیکم یا صاحب العصر والزمان السلام علیکم یا محمد جان السلام علیکم یا شریک القرآن الامان الامان الامان. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. اللهم صل علی محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل وسلم على محمد. اللهم كل وليك الرشد الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آله في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا يليا معينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على this concludes our Muharram series program for this year. Inshallah, next week we'll be back in Muharram, but before that, we'll be having more programs, of course, eventually throughout the year and then upcoming next year, and then this upcoming Muharram. So, inshallah, we'll see you guys there and have a good night. Thank you.